The new 1000 Year Blood War Core 4 The Calamity opening has been pretty divisive. While I'm a fan of the visuals and the song, there are people that are very critical of it. Over the 90-second span of the opening, we get some key glimpses into the remaining episodes of Core 4 and what to expect. This even includes a brief shot of Rukia donning her Bankai facing off against Yhwach, which frankly is a scene that none of us were expecting to see. People have been calling the opening of Core 4 the worst opening of the 1000 Year Blood War arc, and it doesn't sound like Bleach, that they should have got a band like Aqua Times or Asian Kung Fu Generation to do an opening instead. I grew up on those original Bleach openings and I absolutely love them too, and no matter how you cut it, no new opening is going to beat over 20 years worth of nostalgia that we have for those original Bleach openings. When it comes to Core 4's opening, Eyeball, I believe that it was engineered for Bleach fans specifically at two separate levels. The first level is that the original version of the song was rejected and it ended up being rebuilt from the ground up because Tight Kubo asked for it, and the lyrics that the artist Joji came back with are wired with references that go as deep as specific chapter poems from specific volumes of Bleach. And on the second level, the visuals within the opening are a clear roadmap for what we can expect within the final 10 episodes of Core 4. We already know the events of the first 3 episodes thanks to the 1000 Year Blood War Calamity cinema screenings, so we can tick off all of the events that the opening references within those first 3 episodes, and then this leaves us with the content within the opening that is yet to be adapted within the final 7 episodes. In this video, we'll be breaking down and analysing everything about the all-new Bleach opening. I'll reveal the hidden meaning behind the lyrics of the song and how they directly connect to Bleach and its characters, and then we'll be breaking down shot by shot each of the moments within the opening that have yet to be revealed within Core 4. This includes an all-new fight sequence where Rukia could use her Bankai against Yhwach. Kubo typically receives several song submissions where he picks the opening and ending for each respective 1000 Year Blood War core. For the final core, The Calamity, he wanted a opening with a strong impact and a powerful presence. He was already familiar with the music of Joji and he was already a fan of the artist, but when he listened to the demo of the song that was submitted from Joji, he felt that there were a few parts that could be improved upon. So he told Joji that he would like to discuss those points if he was willing to refine the song. Joji happily agreed, as Kubo then gave him direct feedback, which involved several requests and suggestions. Kubo then reveals when Joji came back with the revised version of the song, it was almost an entirely different song from the original demo he heard, and it was genuinely incredible. The moment that he heard the song, Kubo knew that it was the right choice for the opening for Core 4. Apparently, that original demo from Joji wasn't even written for Bleach in mind. It was an unfinished prototype that he'd been sitting on for about 2 years, and he squeezed it down to a minute and a half. After getting a good response from Kubo, he offered to rewrite the song properly for Bleach, and he spent the summer of 2025 doing that, and by his own account, only 2 things survived into the final version from the original demo. This is the rock backbone of the song and 1 guitar figure, so every line of melody as well as each lyric was replaced. So the entire song is a second draft that's written under direct notes from the author of Bleach. What impressed Kubo the most, in his words, was the sheer power and intensity of the song, and he says that with every discussion they had, it kept getting better, and each time he became more convinced that it was the perfect opening theme for the final core. Honestly, I cannot remember the last time that I heard about an anime opening where the manga creator rejected the original demo and then provided specific notes for a second version which finally got accepted. Kubo's been involved with picking all of the opening and endings for the 1000 Year Blood War arc anime. One of his major requests is for newer artists to be selected because he wants viewers to discover somebody new through Bleach and then go and explore the back catalogue of these new artists. With the artist Joji, he wasn't gambling. The first track of his that Kubo heard was Manazashi. His favourite outside of Eyeball is Akemi, and he has said he now listens to Eyeball while drafting his proposals for Core 4. This information was revealed during a Rolling Stones interview between Kubo and Joji. If you read the name of the song Eyeball, it's officially read as Aiburu. This means to smolder, and the label's framing translates to "This is no time to be smoldering, burn hotter." Stacking the English name on top of that, you get Bull, the charge, head down, no brakes. And the I is in reference to the first person, which is of course Ichigo. There is also a reading that interprets it as eyeball, which has been going around, but it cannot be confirmed directly. It's understandable because the final portion of the 1000-Year Blood War arc is heavily centered around Yhwach's power, the Almighty, a power that lives within his eyes. Do you know which Bleach characters also have powerful eye-based abilities? These are the individuals that are subscribed to the channel. Only 20% of the people who watch these videos are subscribed, so if you enjoy these deep dives, then hit the bell icon and subscribe button for even more videos just like this. The time has now come to break down the lyrics of the song, and I want to give some credit to Lavandina Bleach, the Facebook group that has been posting analysis of the lyrics for the new opening. Joji stated outright that he wrote the lyrics of the song to work from Ichigo's perspective and Yhwach's simultaneously, framing Yhwach as a villain who genuinely believes he is making the world better. The full version of the song opens on the line which is a central thesis of the song, a burst of hope or a despair that only resembles it. This question mark in the end is the entire Ichigo Yhwach mirror within a single line. Ichigo representing salvation and Yhwach representing annihilation, depending on whose hands the burst of hope is in. The TV version of the song used for the Bleach opening begins with the line, "I've lived my way full of shame." This is a direct nod to the famous opening line of Dazai's No Longer Human. This is a famous 1948 classical novel by the Japanese author Osamu Dazai. It tells a autobiographical story about alienation, despair, and a man who feels disqualified from being human. It follows the protagonist, Yozo Oba, a troubled young man who is unable to understand normal human behavior, so he acts like a cheerful clown to hide his deep fear and inner isolation from the people around him. He ends up spiraling into a cycle of self-destruction, alcoholism, and ruined relationships before disappearing. Even Joji's standalone music video for Eyeball features a totally separate piece of animation from the Bleach opening, and it's literally a clown fighting a dark circus troupe. So yeah, Joji knew exactly what he was doing with this lyric, which references the work of Osamu Dazai. Following this, we get the coldest line within the song, "Envy comes from the ways of the eventual end." This is basically a plot summary of the 1000-Year Blood War. The main grievance that the Quincy have with the Shinigami stems from feelings of envy. This even runs down through to Uryu's character, via the resentment that he has inherited from Soken Ishida and Ryuken, and even via Baz B, who burned his whole life over the man who got chosen instead of him. The verse continues by naming the ambiguous balance, followed by "I want to cut ties at once." Within Core 4, a wavering balance is not a neutral image, it is the shrift of Hashwald, the balance. The opening lyric names the power belonging to the man at Yhwach's right hand side. Then the next line, "I want to cut ties at once," offers a solution to the ambiguous balance. You don't rebalance an ambiguous scale, you sever it. This is very much like Ichigo, and it's also uncomfortably very much like Yhwach, hinting at how Yhwach eventually abandons the Schutzstaffel later in the story arc. The song then shifts to a man who has run out of the option to withdraw. As the lyrics state, it's too late to back down now. Everyone in Core 4 is past this line. Ichigo's climbed too far to go home. Uryu has burned his cover and he can't walk back from it, and Yhwach has already devoured the Soul King, and there is no version of this where he puts it down. Then there's the lyric, "Before this senile body dies." This is in reference to the Quincy Emperor who had slept for centuries. It could also be a reference to a time limit. There's no time like the present before this senile body dies. The next couplet reads, "The shadow will soon fade away, but even if I disappear, my journey won't stop." The first half sets up a loss and the second half refutes it. Shadows vanish when the sun comes up, and this is a song obsessed with a night that won't break. These lyrics are modeled directly on the two poems that bookend the entire manga. Volume 1's poem is about fearing that which which has no form, and volume 74's poem is a response to this, that even without form we do not stop walking. The next lyric, uncertain days, certain endings. Back to back, uncertain and certain within the same breath. You don't know how tomorrow goes, you know exactly how it finishes, and then the line that follows it, my stories fill the in-betweens. This is a space left between two things, so a story is defined here as whatever you put in the space between an uncertain present and a fixed ending. The next verse then reaches for the light as it states, beyond the wall, standing in the way, a calm morning. It makes a direct point of mentioning a quiet morning, which is the most Bleach thing in the entire lyric, because what Ichigo's always been fighting for is an ordinary day in Karakura Town where nothing happens, whereas loved ones are safe and not in danger. Then the next verse closes on this, standing upwind like the rising sun. Standing upwind is playing off of a Japanese idiom, you couldn't even put him upwind. This is an insult because something foul placed upwind spoils everything downwind of it. So to stand upwind is to be the source. Whatever you give off, everyone behind you receives. If you pair this with the sun coming up, and you've got the first appearance of the dawn imagery that this song is going to keep escalating within the lyrics, and it's a lyric that's perfect for a dual perspective, Ichigo as the man whose resolve carries to everyone standing behind him, and Yhwach as the man whose will spreads to every Quincy downwind of his throne. We then get the pre-chorus lyric, which is a single line, which states a burst of hope ending with a question mark. And then the chorus of the song is in fact in reference to the Getsuga Tensho, to pierce through an endless night. And Getsuga Tensho means Moonfang Heaven Piercer, so to pierce the moon and change the heavens. Show the sun waiting at the end of darkness. This is the 1000-Year Blood War's Endless Night palette, and Ichigo's orange hair as the sun that is rising to end the darkness. The read of pierce could also be in reference to a Quincy arrow. The next line of the chorus is the promise is yet to be fulfilled. This could be in reference to the promise that Ichigo is made to protect everyone, or the world that Yhwach has been promising his own for 1,000 years. The Velt, which Hashward mentions within episode 41. The next lyric reads, but I stand alone, refusing to let go. This is in reference to Yhwach as he is fighting in solitude. While he may have underlings, he has truly abandoned them by this point in the 1000-Year Blood War. It could also reference the moment where Ichigo sinks into despair and feels that solitude, but is then uplifted by the arrival of Renji and Rukia as he decides to not let his promise go. And this contrasts the next lyric, which reads, for now, connecting numerous lights, forming a constellation that paves tomorrow. And I love the fact that the lyric states for now or at present, because this lyric is about Ichigo and his group, because every alliance that the Shinigami have formed is temporary and everyone knows it. Ichigo is currently fighting alongside Grimmjow, Aizen is even on their side, the Fullbringers have been included, and these are lights that do not belong in the same picture, but they're held in one shape for exactly as long as it takes. And the picture that they are being arranged into is a constellation, which in this arc is the enemy's iconography. The Sternritter translates to the Star Knights. Once again, you can see how each of the lyrics have this clever dual meaning, as you can apply them to the perspective of Ichigo or Yhwach. The chorus then lands on the lyric, even if rain clouds hide the night sky, there certainly is a flame in my heart. And this is the smolder from the title Aiburu. This references those constant visuals to the Gloriosa flower, the burning heart of Ichigo. Even if rain clouds hide the night sky's in reference to the moon where Ichigo derives the Getsuga Tensho from. The rain clouds are the despair that he feels, and rain always has a negative connotation within Bleach. It rained on the day that Ichigo's mother died. When Old Man Zangetsu says to himself, Ichigo, I hate rain. It rains in this world too. When you're upset, the skies grow cloudy. When you're sad, it rains. But the line, there certainly is a flame in my heart, is in reference to those Gloriosa lily flowers, which represent courage, glory, and burning passion. And this is the flower which Orihime states reminds her of Ichigo when she sees it at the beginning of episode 42. The next lyric is God is no longer reliable. This references the fact that the Soul King has been devoured by Yhwach, who is effectively now acting as the Soul King. There are constant references within those first 3 episodes of Core 4 that if Yhwach is defeated, then it means the end of the three realms. The next lyric, I glance up towards the silver lining, leading to the final lyric of the opening, the fate of that bursting hope. This time, the bursting hope doesn't appear with a question mark. The final line is in reference to Ichigo, who is the bursting hope and his ultimate fate, the one who wields the blade that is strong enough to shatter fate. Even in the full version of the song, there's a line that reads, retreat and you grow old, hesitate and you die. This is from Ichigo's Zanbakuto awakening scene from chapter 66 of the manga, where Ichigo screams out Zangetsu's name for the first time. It's incredible that Joji's quoted the exact moment that Ichigo stopped borrowing his powers and claimed his very own Shinigami powers. By Joji's own account, this line functions as the Shikai release of the song. The next line, the burst of hope after it, is the Bankai. Then we have the chorus, which is the Getsuga Tensho. So the entire back half of Eyeball, the song, is composed as a release sequence, and this isn't in the TV size version of the song. The second chorus within the full version of the song also has a line that states, leave it all to me. This is the most Ichigo line in the entire song. The way that the song is written in Japanese with the kanji, they have double meaning, so a lot of that meaning is lost within translation. From the interview between Joji and Kubo, you can tell a lot of love and thought was put into the written form of the lyrics, in addition to how they are spoken within the song. This now brings us to the visuals of the opening. I do want to give a spoiler warning, as I'll be talking about events that unfold within episodes 41 to 43, as I'll be seeing exactly what has been shown within the opening from those first 3 episodes and what is left for the final 7 episodes. So the opening begins on Ichigo's face as we cut then to the Gotei 13 advancing through smoke. Then we see the group that battles against Asukin, Urahara, Yoruichi, Nel and Grimmjow, as well as Ichigo's group Ganju, Chad, Uryu and Orihime. The opening shows us shots of Chad and Ganju against the statues, and this was shown to us within episode 41. We got an entire sequence featuring it. Then those shots of Uryu gripping his Quincy cross and then gliding through the air with his arrows. This is in reference to what we see in episode 41, where Uryu's battle against Hashward is completely expanded upon with an anime original fight sequence. We also have new lore about Velt and the annihilation of the 3 realms. Then Asukin darting around in his Vol standing and Yoruichi and Urahara alongside him. This is in reference to episode 41 where we saw Yoruichi's God of Thunder form, as well as episode 42 where Urahara faces off against Asukin. Also those shots of Orihime throwing Satan Keshun around Ichigo. This is from episode 43 where she gets an entire 2-minute anime original scene where she fights against Yhwach. Then those shots of Kinpachi, Hitsugaya and Byakuya versus Jorad. A lot of this is content from episode 43 within the opening. There's also a shot of the Vizards in the opening where they got their expanded assault against Jorad, and that close-up shot of the 3 irises within each of Hashward's eyes, and that shot where he raises his arm up into the air and the black Soul King goo covers it as we see the eyes of the Almighty on his arm. This is in reference to that form which doesn't exist within the manga, which debuts within episode 42. We then have material within the opening which hasn't really been shown within the first 3 episodes of Core 4. Firstly, I want to speak about that shot of Isshin and Ryuken within the opening. We know that they arrived within Vaharvelt early, but we have yet to see what role they play within Core 4. The fact that they're in the opening means that surely they're going to have an expanded role in the anime. Then the next notable shot is the Lil Flamingo birds. Now this is content that was left over from Core 3. This is material from chapter 654, page 14 to 15, where Izuru Kira faces off against the Lil birds. Within the manga, it's literally a page or 2 worth of content, but the fact that it's featuring within the opening means that it's going to at least get a bit of expansion in the anime, I hope. Then that shot of Hashward which zooms in and those scales appearing behind him. That scale imagery is in reference to a shrift ability to balance which we have yet to see within the first 3 episodes of Core 4. With it being mentioned in the opening, surely the balance is going to play a major role in the upcoming episodes. Then where Hashward raises his hand up into the air and that massive hand crushes his arm, the imagery is very similar to that final shot where Hashward's about to cut down Uryu and then he is hit by the light of a Schwalen, so that hand could be Yhwach's which is crushing Hashward's arm. symbolizing that he has betrayed his Schutzstaffel by taking his power back from them. Then the next notable hint at future events is Ichigo Orihime teaming up with Renji and Rukia as they fight against Yhwach. Now we know by the time that Renji and Rukia arrive at the throne room, the battle is already over. Yhwach is already leaving for the Serete in the manga, and Ichigo is filled with despair. So it seems like the anime may be changing things around here, allowing for a moment where the four of them can team up against the Quincy Emperor. And it seems like this may well be the case as we get a solid sequence of the four of them fighting Yhwach. Renji is firing his Shikai off against Yhwach. Orihime has a shield that is up that is blocking the black Reiatsu. Ichigo is charging forward, cutting away at the black goo. And then there's an immediate scene there where Rukia is seen in her Hakano Tagame Bankai form, as she seems to have used it against Yhwach with all of that black Reiatsu swirling around her. And there's a brief shot that you'll have to pause frame by frame where a huge block of ice clashes against the black Reiatsu as we then cut back to Ichigo. So yeah, this is our first major hint that Rukia is getting an all new anime fight sequence within Core 4, and it's one that thankfully includes her Bankai. Ichigo is then seen cutting through the black Reiatsu, and behind him we continue to see these flashes of ice that are being released, I think, from Rukia's Bankai. Again, more proof that Ichigo is going to be getting assists from Rukia and Renji as well as Orihime, as this particular scene then culminates in a clash against Yhwach. The next notable scene that we've not seen within those first 3 episodes is this shot of Shunsui with Ukitake behind him. We know that Ukitake still hasn't collapsed as Mimihagi is still releasing from his body, so this brief shot of Shunsui and Ukitake could hint at them having a farewell moment, one that wasn't present within the manga. We then get a brief glimpse of Yukio and Ryuka taking Ginjo and Tsukishima to the battlefield of Varavelt. Giriko should be with them, but we don't see him in this opening scene. This again is material that isn't in those first 3 episodes, so the Fullbringers are hopefully going to be somewhere in those last 7 episodes of Core 4. Then we get this incredible shot of Aizen, who appears to be freed from Chair-sama, as Reiatsu is ominously bubbling up as he fires off Haro 99 Goryu Tenmetsu. And if you pause, you can see the electrical Reiatsu with the golden scales of those 5 dragons that he is summoning. The entire scene is then consumed by the black Reiatsu of Yhwach. And this is cool because Aizen hasn't appeared within those first 3 episodes of Core 4 yet. The battle between Aizen and Yhwach is a few panels within the manga, but I'm really hoping that we get an anime extended fight sequence between them. So as you can see, this opening is absolutely incredible. It has amazing lyrics that link back to Bleach, it has complete approval from Kubo himself, and the visuals that accompany the song are incredible, and they hint at the events that have yet to be revealed within those final 7 episodes of Core 4. Most notably being Rukia's Bankai being used against Yhwach. I'm a big fan of the opening, and I love the rap segment within the opening where Askin appears with his fingers pointing out to the audience, and that entire rap segment reminds me of Bleach opening 1 asterisk. But we have now reached the point of the video where I want to hand over the discussion to all of you. What do you guys think about the all new opening for Bleach 1000 Year Blood War Core 4 The Calamity? If there's anything that I've forgotten to mention about the opening song, then let me know by continuing the discussion in the comments. What is your favorite scene from the opening? And what lyric is your favorite now that you understand each of the lines in the opening song? Lastly, thanks for making it to the end of this one, and I look forward to seeing you in my next Bleach video.
A massive thank you goes out to all of my amazing Patreon supporters for helping to make this video possible. If you also want to support the channel and see your name in the end of my videos, then check out my Patreon, which has loads of perks like early video access and so much more. Thank you for sticking around till the end of the video, and whatever you contribute will mean a lot to me.